Fair use. Daily Reflections. This is a book of reflections by AA members for AA members. October 19th. AA's main taproot. The principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society has sprung and flowered. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 21 and 22. Defeated and knowing it, I arrived at the doors of AA alone and afraid of the unknown. A power outside of myself had picked me up off my bed, guided me to the phone, then to the bus stop, and through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. Once inside AA, I experienced a sense of being loved and accepted, something I had not felt since early childhood. May I never lose the sense of wonder I experienced on the first evening with AA, the greatest event of my entire life. Courage to Change, One Day at a Time in Al-Anon, October 19th. I have recently been reminded that I am not responsible for the workings of the entire universe. An unexpected transfer at my job sent me to a new city, and I had only 1 week to find a place for my family to live. After 3 unsuccessful days, I grew frantic. I had been in Al-Anon long enough to know that I needed a meeting. Listening to others share about taking care of our responsibilities and trusting a higher power with the rest, I was reminded that I could only do my best. I could do the footwork, but I couldn't force the house to appear. I had to let go and let God. On the last day of my search, I found a wonderful place to live. Struggling and worrying didn't help me to solve my problem. Doing my part and trusting my higher power with the rest did. Today's reminder: what I can't do, my higher power can. When I let go and let God, I am free to take risks and to make mistakes. I know that I am powerless over many things. Today, I can take comfort in knowing that I don't have the power to ruin God's plans. There is a quote from Victor Hugo, and it reads, "Have courage for the great sorrows of life and patience for the small ones. And when you have laboriously accomplished your daily task, go to sleep in peace. God is awake." Just for today, Daily Meditations for Recovering Addicts, October 19th. Standing for something. We could feel time, touch reality, and recognize spiritual values long lost to many of us. Basic text, page 88. In our active addiction, we were prepared to compromise everything we believed in just to get our hands on more drugs. Whether we stole from our families and friends, sold ourselves, or lied to our employers, we were ignoring the values that mattered most to us. Each time we compromised another dearly held belief, another chunk of the martyr holding our characters together fell away. By the time many of us came to our first meeting, nothing was left but the ruin of our former selves. We will locate our lost values as we carry out our first honest self-examination. But in order to rebuild our characters, we'll find it necessary to maintain those values, no matter how great the temptation to shove them aside. We will need to be honest even when we think we could fool everyone by lying. If we ignore our values, we'll discover that the biggest fibs we've told have been the ones we've told ourselves. We don't want to start the demolition of our spirits again after all the work we've put into our restoration. It's essential that we stand for something or we risk falling for anything. Whatever we find important to us, we honor. Just for today, I stand for something. My strength is the result of living my values. Today, Emotions Anonymous, October 19th. Reflection for today. My being a doormat came from a need in my emotional illness, a need for recognition and approval from others. In recovery, I began to recognize my own power to determine my self-worth. I no longer use what others will think of me as a guide for how I will act. I look within myself for my standards of behavior and seek the will of my higher power in all matters. I am beginning to take responsibility for my own life. Part of this responsibility is making my own choices and accepting the consequences. Meditation for today. Grant me the ability to look at my own power to affect other people. Today I will remember, how much do I react to the power I perceive in other people? Strengthening my recovery. Meditations for adult children of alcoholics, dysfunctional families. October 19th. Effort. Recovery takes effort. BRB, page 50. A higher power provides food for all the birds on earth but doesn't put it in their mouths. It would be nice to just sit in the rooms of recovery and let the program sink in by osmosis without having to work at it. Some of us have tried this, a few for many years, and wondered why we were not experiencing much. We may be substance-free, but we continue to have emotional chaos and dysfunction in our lives and in our heads. Eventually, if we're lucky, it will dawn on us that, try as we might, change will not happen without significant effort on our part. And we need the program, our fellow travelers, and most of all, higher power. If we're stalled, we open our minds and hearts to see what works for others. Maybe the same thing will work for us. We've been continuously told that recovery takes effort, and as we do the work, we realize that recovery does not bring the absence of storms, but it gives us a much-needed umbrella we never had before. The affirmation reads, "On this day I will leave the nest and do the work necessary for the recovery that will change my life." Share, subscribe, like, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be. Find out who that person is. Take time with yourself and your higher power. Remember that you are not alone and that recovery is possible, one day at a time.